Good morning. How are you guys today? Welcome to Bible class with Andre and Betty. Thank you for visiting with us, and we're in the book of 2 Samuel, and we'll continue our studies in chapter 18. And guess what, guys? I had my 82nd birthday on last Saturday, the 22nd of February. So bless you all and keep us in prayer. We're in chapter 18 of 2 Samuel, and we'll be looking at David's third son is killed in this chapter. And we're talking about Absalom, who was trying to overthrow the kingdom of David for himself. He wanted to be king over the people. And so beginning in verse 1, and David numbered the people that were with him, and set captains of thousands and captains of hundreds over them. So people had increasingly gone with David out of Israel, and his number of men following him now is hundreds and thousands. Verse 2. And David sent forth a third part of the people, 1/3 part of the people under the hand of Joab, that's his general, and a third part under the hand of Abishai. This is Joab's brother, the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and a third part under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said unto the people, I will surely go forth with you myself also. So David wanted to go with the people to battle against Israel, who was being led by Absalom, David's son. Verse 3. But the people answered, Thou shalt not go forth, for if we flee away, they will not care for us. Neither if half of us die, will they care for us. But now you are worth 10,000 of us. Therefore now it is better that you help us out of the city. We don't want you to go with us because you may get killed. So you just help us and we'll be okay. Verse 4. And the king said unto them, What seemeth you best, I will do. I will help you. And the king stood by the gate side, and all the people came out by hundreds and by thousands. Verse 5. And the king commanded Joab and Abishai and Ittai, saying, Deal gently for my sake with the young man, even with Absalom. So don't do anything to hurt my son. And all the people heard when the king gave all the captains charge concerning Absalom. Verse 6. So the people went out into the field against Israel, those that's following Absalom, and the battle was in the wood or in the forest of Ephraim. That part of the country had been given to Ephraim. Verse 7. Where the people of Israel were slain before the servants of David, and there was there a great slaughter that day of 20,000 men. So David's servants killed 20,000 men of Israel. Verse 8. For the battle was there scattered over the face of all the country, and the wood of the trees devoured more people that day than the sword devoured or killed. And now we'll see David's third son being killed. Verse 9, and Absalom met the servants of David. And Absalom rode upon a mule, and the mule went under the thick boughs of a great oak. And his head or his hair caught hold of the oak, and he was taken up between the heaven and the earth. He was left hanging by his hair, and the mule that was under him went away. Verse 10, and a certain man saw it and told Joab and said, behold, I saw Absalom hanged in an oak. Verse 11, and Joab said unto the man that told him, and behold, thou sawest him, and why didst thou not smite him there to the ground? And I would have given thee 10 shekels of silver and a girdle or belt. Verse 12. And the man said unto Joab, though I should receive 1,000 shekels of silver in my hand, yet would I not put forth my hand against the king's son. For in our hearing the king charged thee and Abishai and Ittai, saying, beware that none touch the young man Absalom. Verse 13, the man said, otherwise I should have wrought falsehood against my own life. If I had done what you're telling me I should have done, that would have been against my own life. For there is no matter hid from the king, and you yourself would have set yourself against me. And so now you're telling me this, but I'm not going to fall for it. And Joab said no more to the man, but he made a decision. Verse 14, then said Joab, I may not tarry thus with thee. I'm not going to waste any more time with you. And Joab, took 3 darts in his hand and thrust them through the heart of Absalom while he was yet alive in the midst of the oak. So it looks as though he was hit in the heart by the darts, but he didn't die, because verse 15 says, and 10 young men that bear Joab's armor surrounded or compassed about and smote Absalom and slew him. So they made sure that he was dead. Verse 16, and Joab blew the trumpet, and the people returned from pursuing after Israel, for Joab held back the people. Verse 17, and they took Absalom and cast him into a great pit in the wood, and laid a very great heap of stones upon him, and all Israel fled every one to his tent. Verse 18. This is parenthetical verse, or an explanation verse. Now Absalom in his lifetime had taken and reared up for himself a pillar, which is in the king's valley, Adali. For he said, Absalom said, I have no son to keep my name in remembrance. And he called the pillar after his own name. And it is called unto this day Absalom's place. But in chapter 14 of this book, verse 27, it talks about Absalom having sons and a daughter named Tamar. And so either this is before they were born, or for some reason at this particular time in his life, he wanted to make sure his name was remembered. And he says, when he did this, I have no son for my name to be remembered. Verse 19. Then said Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok. This is the priest, one of the priest sons. Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok. Let me now run and bear the king tidings, how that the Lord had avenged him of his enemies. Let me go and tell King David that God has taken care of his enemies. But he really didn't know the details. So it says in verse 20, and Joab said unto him, thou shalt not bear tidings or news this day, but thou shalt bear tidings or news another day. But this day thou shalt bear no tidings, because the king's son is dead. Verse 21. Then said Joab to Cushai, go tell the king what thou hast seen. And Cushai bowed himself unto Joab and ran. So this young man is a fast runner, but Ahimaaz is faster. Verse 22, then said Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok, yet again to Joab, but howsoever, let me, I pray thee, also run after Cushai. And Joab said, wherefore wilt thou run, my son, seeing that thou hast no tidings ready? You didn't even see what happened. Verse 23. But howsoever, said he, let me run. And he said unto him, Joab said, run. Then Ahimaaz ran by the way of the plain, and overran Cushai. Verse 24. And David sat between the two gates, and the watchman went up to the roof over the gate unto the wall, and lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a man running alone. And the watchman cried and told the king. And the king said, if he be alone, there is news or tidings in his mouth. And he came apace, or at a fast pace, and drew near. Verse 26, and the watchman saw another man running, and the watchman called unto the porter and said, behold, another man running alone. And the king said, he also bringeth good news. Verse 27, and the watchman said, me thinketh the running of the foremost is like the running of Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok. And the king said, he is a good man, and cometh with good news or glad tidings. Verse 28, and Ahimaaz called and said unto the king, all is well. And he fell down to the earth upon his face before the king, and said, blessed be the Lord thy God, which has delivered up the men that lifted up their hand against my lord the king. So bless the Lord for what he's done for you. Verse 29, and the king said, is the young man Absalom safe? And Ahimaaz answered, when Joab sent the king's servant and me thy servant, I saw a great tumult or uproar, but I knew not what it was. I saw the battle, but I don't know what happened. Verse 30, and the king said unto him, turn aside and stand here. And he turned aside and stood still. Verse 31, and behold, Cushai came, and Cushai said, tidings of greetings, my lord the king, for the Lord hath avenged thee this day of all them that rose up against thee. Verse 32, And the king said unto Cushai, is the young man Absalom safe? He's so concerned about Absalom. And Cushai answered, he said, the enemies of my lord the king, and all that rise against thee to do thee hurt, be as that young man is. In other words, he's dead, and may all your enemies die in like manner. And now David shows his grief, and the king was moved and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept. And as he went, thus he said, oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom, would God I had died for thee. Oh, Absalom, my son, my son. So he's showing his mourning and grief because Absalom had been killed, and he had told Joab and the others not to lay their hands on him. And this is going to play out even more in the next chapter. So this is David's third son that has died since God told David that he would have to, four of his descendants would die during the time that he was king. And David had 19 sons altogether, and we know some that died, but we don't know when all of his sons died. But David will be 70 years old when he dies. So the third son, the baby between Bathsheba and he, died after 7 days. Then Amnon, that raped his sister, his half-sister, died. And now Absalom. So these stories have a lot of drama and intrigue in them, so we'll just keep moving forward. And you all have a great day and a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.